Okay, so this has got to be a really common question. Remember, attachment styles, they come into play with family and friend dynamics as well. Some of us could be secure attachment style in anything, but when it comes to mating, dating, and relating, then we dip into one of the more dysfunctional types. And you gotta wanna know what happens when they pull away. And I actually had a viewer to ask a question. I'm gonna tell you what her question is, and I hope she doesn't mind. She says, when an FA, and I had never heard of fearful avoidant being called FA, but I like that better because it is hard to say fearful avoidant. I have to think about it every time I'm about to say it. So she says, when an FA that you just started dating flips into a very avoidant phase, should you keep reaching out or leave them be until they contact you? What do you guys think? I'm glad she brought this question up because this is real life. This is a real life situation that can create a lot of intense emotions. Even for somebody who is a secure attachment style, you try dating somebody and then all of a sudden they're not talking to you, they pulled away. That feels terrible. It feels horrible. So we know that avoidant attachment styles can do that, but we also have to contend with our lovely FAs, fearful avoidance, aka disorganized attachment style, because guess what? They can do that ish too. And I shouldn't call it that, but it doesn't feel good when you do somebody like that. So spank, spank. I have to get on you. I have to be honest. It doesn't feel good to do that. So we have to explore why they do that and should you pull away. I think this is extremely tricky because the person asking the question is really asking, how do I keep this person from pulling away from me? How do I keep from losing this person? Because anytime you have any opposite dynamics happening, you're going along just fine and everything is great. Anytime your emotions or your heart is invested in a situation or a relationship, you know that you're heading for potential pain, confusion. And us women, we get attached. We got attachment hormones in our bodies that make us attached to babies, to friends, to organizations. That stuff is real, okay? So, and it doesn't matter even if you don't have that. If you're a man and you really like somebody and she decides that she doesn't want to talk to you anymore, that's like crazy. That feels crazy. And what other dynamic would that be tolerable or acceptable or feel okay? There's not any other dynamic, whether it's a friendship, a neighbor, anybody, somebody you say hello to in the store, and all of a sudden that person doesn't say hello to you anymore, you're going to feel some type of way. So I don't blame her for asking the question because it's valid. But what she's really saying is, this person is about to hurt me. How do I stop them from hurting me? Somebody else might say the real question should be, maybe you shouldn't even ask that question and just dip out and let them leave you. But to me, that's also not being realistic. If you like someone, you just like them. And if you're building a connection with somebody, then you're building a connection and it feels so good. It feels like there's potential here for real romance, for love, for fun, for enjoyment. But nobody likes to be rejected. But unfortunately, people who have FA or fearful avoidant attachment style, they can pull away real strong. And so is there a way to keep them from doing that? And how can you handle it? I remember when I was in college, there was this guy that would come to my dorm room and just hang out. It was platonic, so I thought. Even though he was really popular, a lot of people really liked him. I just saw him as a really good friend with maybe a tiny bit of a potential for romance. But, I really wasn't thinking in that direction. He would just come hang out. We could study together, whatever. And then one day he stopped speaking to me for like 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay. Like, we would be in the cafeteria. He would act like he didn't notice. He wouldn't be mean, but it was like he was in a different world. I don't understand that. You know, John Gray wrote a book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus that was really popular once upon a time. And he talks about that men have a natural propensity to pull back when they get too close. That's frustrating to people. Women don't like that. Even saying that is difficult for me because it brings up a feeling of shame that we should just accept that somebody pulls away from us, and that we should feel okay about it, be okay about it, not feel clingy. I'm sorry, but how are we made? That creates a clingy response, if you want to know the truth. So people who have this attachment style, fearful avoidant, or just plain old avoidance, and you don't expect somebody to come charging at you like a bull with horns, who hasn't eaten in like 50 days. That's what that creates when your avoidant style takes over, or part of yourself takes over. You are asking for 1,000 pounds of clinginess to come at you, to charge at you. It's super triggering. So you're pulling back, but you're going to get more of what you don't want. So we all have to figure out what is the best way to handle this situation. And by the way, the guy in college, after 2 weeks, when he came back, bouncing back, it was like nothing had happened. Like, he just came back and was like, hey, would you like some chips? Oh, I failed my exam and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? Now, I wasn't romantically attracted to him, but I was still confused. Like, okay, are we supposed to go back like nothing happened? Because in female world, if you disappear like that, it means I'm angry at you, I'm mad at you, I don't want to talk to you anymore. But if you examine it from an attachment style, then we got to look at it from a different lens, which might require that we handle this differently. So, to the viewer and to all the people who feel the same, who have the same question, what do you think? And I just answered it. If you start knocking on his door, calling him 12 times a day, and he's already pulled back, what do you think is going to happen? And this particular person pulling back like that, what do you think they're going to get? They're going to get questions. And then the person's going to feel embarrassed for their strong reaction. I'm going to ask you guys again, what do you do? And I'm trying to figure this out with you. I want to give the perfect answer, but I'm not sure that I can. The part of me that wants to be objective about it says, is this the dynamic that you want to live with for the rest of your life? Is this a rest of your life dynamic, or is this just an FA, just kind of doing what they do sometimes? So it's tricky for me to answer that. And if I were to tell the person, do you really want to deal with this for the rest of your life? That's me putting on my safety, my protection, because I don't know if I can work through this kind of thing with somebody. Because as somebody who struggles with FA at times in relationships, that's too much for me. I can't handle it. Now I'm afraid of losing you, and it's scary, and I don't want to lose you. So the first thing we do is we hold on tighter. We hold on tighter. If you're on a roller coaster, your instinct is going to be to hold on tighter, not to pull away and be flung out of the ride. When you're in that dynamic, even though logically you may know that I don't want to do this. This sucks. This heavyweight sucks. It's hard to be logical when your emotions are involved. So you might end up working some of that stuff out with super clinginess until you've just worked your way through it. And see, this is where an FA, it comes in handy because they've got both things at their disposal. So they might go crazy with the clinginess on somebody who does this to them, and they pull back like they're stopping a Mack truck, like they're stopping an 18-wheeler. Like, I'm putting on the brakes. And if they're not careful, they will drag that dynamic into every relationship that they get into, because I just experienced intense hurt. I don't want to experience that again. So I'm going to function in my avoidance side as much as possible because it makes me feel safe. It puts me in the driver's seat. They could have been triggered by something that she said or something that she did that alerted them that this person is going to leave you, or this person is rejecting you, or this person is criticizing you too much. Maybe she felt like, hey, we can be open, we can say anything we want. And in a way, you should be able to say, you should be able to be yourself. I think we all have to use tact, but you shouldn't have to walk on eggshells. So if you are an FA, be careful not to make people have to walk on eggshells with you. But you also got to be careful not to walk on eggshells to the point where you're doing the avoidance dance, where you're pulling back way too hard and doing damage to a potentially dynamic, fulfilling, and amazing relationship. Try to be honest and put myself in the shoes of other people. So if I were to tell her, you know what, let him pull back, give him space, let him do his thing, let's see what happens. I think that is step one. I think you need to sort of, if you can find the strength, I think you need to play that out and not just jump ship. Here's why. People who have this FA, fearful avoidant style, sometimes they have to test things out. They're not purposefully testing things out, but what they're saying, it could potentially be saying is, I actually need more from you. I need more security. I need more stability. Something has been triggered. They're afraid for some reason. So I think you definitely need to pull back. Instead of telling her, pull back, give them the space that they need to work through their dynamic. Because if you come closer, you're going to push them further away. We already know that. You're gonna force them to tango with you when they don't feel like tangoing for some reason, and you might really scare them. So instead of saying, give them space, let them work out their stuff until they come back to you, the person is thinking, but what if they never come back to me? I can't handle that right now. So what I told her was, mirror back to him what he is mirroring to you. That is, to me, way easier to do than I'm just going to sit back, twiddle my thumbs, and stay over here while you're over there. We're going to have all 50 feet in between us, That is way easier said than done. I just don't think it's fair to tell somebody that they have to do that when somebody has just suddenly pulled away from them. I say mirror back to them what they are mirroring to you. In this case, do unto them what they are doing unto you. And you can even have a tiny attitude, a secret attitude about it in your head, where you're like, okay, you're pulling away from me. I'm going to show you what that feels like. I'm going to do the same thing to you. Because sometimes people don't know what that feels like because it's never done to them. Because you want to teach them hard and fast and quickly that this is what this feels like. And if, sometimes the greatest lesson is when you feel what other people, what you're doing to other people, and you're like, ouch, that doesn't feel so good. Then maybe you'll think twice before you pull back from somebody. You want to teach them this quickly. You don't want this to become a habitual thing. If somebody pulls away from you, here are some quick, fast rules that will help you. Number one, stay calm and patient. Understand that their pulling back is often rooted in fear, not a reflection of their feelings for you. So give them space without taking it personally. Number two, communicate openly. When they're ready, encourage honest discussions about feelings and fears. Use I statements to express your feelings without sounding accusatory. Three, be supportive. Show empathy and understanding. Let them know you are there for them, reinforcing that they can take their time to process their emotions. Four, avoid pressure. Don't push them for answers or immediate closeness. Pressure can increase their anxiety and cause them to withdraw further. Five, set boundaries. While it's essential to be understanding, it's also important to establish your own boundaries. So make sure to communicate your needs and ensure that you're also taking care of your emotional well-being. Six, encourage gradual intimacy. Help them feel safe by suggesting low-pressure activities that foster connection without overwhelming them. Seven, educate yourself, which is what you're doing now. Learning more about attachment styles can provide insight into their behavior, enabling you to respond with compassion rather than frustration. And number eight, you can always seek professional help if needed. So by approaching the situation with empathy and understanding, you can create a safe environment that encourages healthier communication and connection if this is the route that you choose to go. Here's the other side of it. When you are a fearful avoidant attachment style, you can feel extremely overwhelmed with life. You're usually dealing and juggling with too many things, too many people depending on you for their social, emotional well-being, and it's too much. They are usually overloaded psychologically. I need to pull back because my anxiety has been triggered. I need a moment to calm down. A way for you to understand this is think of the love language that you hate the most. And let's say somebody is making you do it. Imagine having to do that over and over and over and over again. So if you're having to do your worst love language, it kind of puts you in the shoes of how this person is feeling, that they are feeling incredibly overwhelmed and they need some space. If you are feeling overwhelmed, some people give you all these 10 more tasks to do. You can't. You're going to feel like you got ants in your pants. That is the equivalent to how this potential fearful avoidant is feeling. Now, when the person returns back, I think it's important to tell the person how you feel. And I think that can be tricky. And I think that can be scary because now you want to walk on eggshells because I just experienced almost losing this person. But I think you need to tell them how you're feeling. And that's a big risk because a person might say, well, I'm feeling like we're not a match. Because that could also be the truth. Because that means that you have a better match out there. Trust me, you found somebody who is your actual match. You are grateful that you did not go for that person or that person released you. But let's say they do feel like you're a match and this is just what they do to feel better. They pull back. Or you could have said something that hurt their feelings. If you don't have a discussion, how are you going to know what it is? I want you to know that this is a safe place to share with me your truths. I know it's going to be scary because you don't want to get rejected anymore. To piece it all together, I think if you have just started a relationship dynamic with somebody and they pull back, try to give them space, try to play out this pattern because you need to see, is this something that they're going to be doing all the time? Another component of an FA is if they need more security, if they need more consistency from you, in other words, they need stability. They need to feel like it's safe to open up to you, to share that you are my safe space. You are stable. You're going to be here for me. This is not just some fleeting thing. They may pull back to protect themselves if they're not feeling safe. And they also might pull back and then do it less and less and less and less and less as you show them over time that, hey, I'm here for you. In a male-female dynamic, women tend to need your stability, your sturdiness. I'm someone you can trust. I'm someone you can depend on. You can open up to me. You can share your feelings. They need that reassurance over and over and over again. So I hope this helps somebody today. I hope it did not confuse you further. If you are confused or you think I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. This is us learning together. And you'll want to read my book called Flip the Script on Love, where I kind of wrote the book for me and you because I needed some stability in my life. And so I'm hoping that my book can help you with your love life. So it's Flip the Script on Love by Tamara Hunter Zyon. It's on Amazon. And while you're at it, you might want to check out my other book where I write about all the 16 personality types, Myers-Briggs personality types. And I explain to you what each of them are, and my book on the workplace narcissist. So like this video if you want to see more. Subscribe because I am going to be random all over the place on this topic and address things that I think will help you and me. So stay tuned for the next one. Love you guys. Bye.